Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Super Ninja Austin here, back here with another video. This is the latest edition of the SNA podcast, Tuesday night special, the Tuesday night war special, I should say, because both AEW and NXT has went down the war to see who's who did a better show into the 18 to 49 demographics. Since the MLB playoffs is here, they had to move. Yeah, that's right. They had to move AEW on from Wednesdays to Tuesday nights, and then they're going head to head with the weekly episodic television show, which is the NXT brand. And that's what this episode of the SNA podcast is. We'll start off right here, which is the SNA podcast, episode 66, which is the NXT review part 9. We're gonna start right now, and that is we're going to start off with Cody Rhodes revealing the surprise that he promised the announce this Tuesday at NXT, and that's what exactly what he just did. And then he said we're cutting a promo saying right here. And it was like yeep. When the fans started chanting yeep, this is where Cody Rhodes was like, so, like usual, what do you want to talk about, everybody here in the Capitol Wrestling Center? Or NXT universe, what he said. And the fans started chanting, and then Cody Rhodes was like, now I want to get to the cut, but I do have a big announcement that I want to share with you guys. And the fans are chanting like, okay, yay, what's the surprise? And Cody Rhodes was like, actually, announcements, because it's a plural into my announcement rather than singular. And this is where Cody Rhodes is like we're all doing the women's breakout tournament and the single. So who's going to be the next Tiffany Stratton? Who's the next Rhea Ripley and the conclusion in that tournament into this brand? And he said the men will also have a breakout tournament as well. And I was like, finally, we're going to have a breakout tournament, which is very exciting. I was like, I bet that's probably the first announcement. This is what Cody was like, I've been hurt. And what I heard I heard that people were going to say that I'm going to be here tonight. I'm talking about a certain tag team tournament. And the fans start chanting like, yeah, we want to see that. And then this is when the fans start chanting his daddy's name, which is Dusty Rhodes. Dusty, because the tag team tournament, the yearly classic tag team tournament, is dedicated to Cody's late great father. And then they were echoing around here with the Dusty chants. And then Cody Rhodes was like, you guys sound like you want that kind of concept. Yeah. And this is what the fans like, yes. And this is what Cody Rhodes was like, well, that's good, because the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Tournament is also coming back. And the fans like, yeah. I was like, I bet it's going to be the start at the beginning of 2024 when his boy Maxwell going to be there. Except I'm not sure he's going to be in NXT because he's looking well developed. He's like, okay, one more announcement for the absolute biggest night in NXT history. I think that's the truth because you're going head-to-head to your former company that you created. And he's like, Shawn Michaels have made it so tonight. I am the special guest general manager of NXT. And I was like, what? This is some surprising. This is a surprising announcement. Because I would never thought we would have him as a special guest general manager of him calling the shots of tonight's NXT. I was thinking like maybe they're doing this for the fact that they're going head to head with AEW, the company that used to be an executive vice president to, and he giving him this role to do that so he can have something to look forward to watch, like, and whether if it's the matches, segments, or whatever Cody Rhodes gonna be calling on, like we're gonna hear the announcements of things about matches or segments or whatever. I'll say whatever about from the American Nightmare. We're gonna see more of him onto the show, going head to head to his former promotion he used to work for. But anyway, this is where Ilya Dragunov comes comes off at. This is where he comes in the ring, and then he has a few words in mind for the American Nightmare, stating, let's see, now I'd like to talk to you, but I certainly couldn't. I couldn't pass up the opportunity to welcome you to my show, which is NXT, which we got an honorable reaction from the fans. This is where it's like, yeah, like very sweet of you, Ilya. And he's like, there's an announcement. There's the hold of the future of the bat. Like, they sure do. It creates excitement, and it creates brief life into NXT. And then everybody's like, yeah. And he's like, beside all that, I simply want to meet the man who, this man right here, who I looked up to as a pro wrestler. And this man who brings this passion into this industry. This man did this energy. And this man saying, man, the will to suffer for the entire WWE universe. And everybody's like, yeah. And this is why we love him. This is where the fans start chanting. This is where Ilya Dragunov's like, you fight with someone with a fire, and you pushes everything you do to the next level. Which he really do. And this is where Ilya Dragunov's like, this is what I want to do for you. And it's something I promise to do. And something I promise to push this brand to the next level with the fire that only the Mad Dragon could do. Or can blow, more like. But this is where Dominic and Rhea, the two members of the Judgment Day, are the lovely couple, of the Judgment Day, interrupting Cody Rhodes and Ilya Dragunov, saying, and this is where Cody Rhodes is like, oh, do we have to see these guys? This is where Dominic Mysterio is on the microphone saying, the WWE Universe is here to see the greatest NXT, the greatest superstar that this brand has to offer right now. And it's like, me, Dirty Dominic. And everybody's like, boo! They were booing louder than they ever did with Dominic, because this is the biggest show in NXT right now, because this is the first war with AEW since probably the last time was like last year, like in 2022, when they moved Dynamite to Tuesday for that 1 week of the World Series or the playoffs. But this is where you are the great champion, Ilya, but you don't compare to me as the greatest, the one and only true A champion, double A champion, no, true double A champion. And this is when fans start chanting and like, pull that trick. And then Dominic Mysterio's like, so you want to feel Cody's energy right now? Why don't you ask him about his injury level every time the Judgment Day left him laying there? And then Cody's like, don't let him get in your skin. Like, he just wants to get a reaction. This is where Ilya Dragunov started laughing. He's like, Dominic, like, why are you surprised out when you came out here to talk about when nobody in this entire arena wants to listen to the sound of your breath? And then this is where fans start cheering, like, tell it, preach it. That's when the fans are like, preach it, Ilya. And then he was like, I thought of it. I used to work in a prison. And he was like, so I know exactly how to turn a barking dog into a sweet little puppy. And everybody's like, yeah, like, show us the trick, Ilya. And then Dominic's like, you know what, little Ilya? And then he's like, yeah, just a little bit puppy. And more than a little what you have down there. This is where Rhea Ripley tried to put some words in his head, whispering in his head. This is where Cody Rhodes started playing that game with the former Nightmare, and then had some better ideas to tell Ilya, the whisper in his ear, while she was doing it with Dominic. And this is where Dominic starts saying, what Rhea Ripley told him, you know what, Cody? Why don't you put that NXT championship on the line tonight against me? And this is where, and see if you really are have the man you say you are. And then Cody Rhodes like, so wait, like, Dom, if he thought, if what I'm hearing is you want, like you want the shot at his NXT championship, but you're not willing to put your NXT North American title of facing him for his title into some kind of a double championship match. And this is when Rhea Ripley tried to make excuses for him, saying he already had enough. It's already bad. It's already bad enough that Dominic lost the title. You don't need to be worrying about losing it again a week after he just won it for the second time in his career. So his championship for now is off limits. And this is where Cody Rhodes. This is where Cody Rhodes was like, all right, we'll have this match. And I'm not sure if it really was an NXT North American champion. I mean, for the NXT Championship match, but maybe it was. He said it will be Ilya Dragunov taking on Dominic Mysterio in a one-on-one match with the special guest referee, and that special guest referee is none other than L.A. Knight. And the fans like, yeah! And then they're like, what? This is a complete shocker. I expect there's going to be a handful of main roster talent that's going to make their way into the developmental brand. But I didn't know it's going to be in this way. Dang, this is a huge shocker. They're just trying to do the best they can of winning this week's ratings against AEW Dynamite. But it looks like they probably are going to just do that because this was a great show, genuinely. From watching start to finish. But I'm going to get to that and tell you exactly why do I mean by that. But this is where John Cena pulls up into his Honda Civic, his blue Honda Civic, right into the parking lot in NXT. This is where he does the same commercials with. But this is where John Cena started. I mean, this is where he came out. This is where Booker T started laughing. And this is where Vic Joseph was like, what are you laughing at, Booker? And then this is where he's like nothing. Let's see right here. Well, anyway, yeah, he's like, they announced that John Cena's gonna be on the corner of what's his name. He's still gonna be he's gonna be his the guy that's gonna sit that's gonna be in his corner when he faces against Braun Breaker, when he has Paul Heyman, with his Paul Heyman being his on his corner. But this is where we had Asuka and Roxanne Perez in this match, and boy, I thought Roxanne Perez was actually gonna defeat the NXT's undefeated Asuka, but that sure didn't seem to be the case at the end of the match. And what is that? And see what exactly see what exactly what I mean by that. You have to watch this match. Russell Wilson. That's right. It's Russell Wilson. But anyways, yeah, this is where Shotzi came out there. This is where she came out with her tank that she usually drives in every time she makes her entrance. But it was like her old mini NXT tank. This is where she joins commentary. This is where we have the match. This is where it starts off with Roxanne Perez and the grappling maneuver with the Empress of Tomorrow, grabbing onto her like into a grappling wrestling style. This is where let's see right here. Hidden right hands and forearms. This is where Vic Joseph welcomes Shotzi into the commentary. It's like welcome to commentary. It's Halloween. And this is where Shotzi's like, hey, Halloween, yeah, it is. This is where Roxanne started hitting a twisting arm hammerlock hold right on the Asuka. This is where she tried to go for the hammerlock lariat, something that Arya Daivari would do. But this is where Asuka reversed and hits a fireman's throwaway, a firewoman's carry throwaway right onto Asuka. And not Asuka, Roxanne Perez. This is where she gotta go for the abdominal stretch. This is where Roxanne Perez tried to intercept and try to do a leg lock right onto Asuka's head. This is where she moved out of it. She tried to go for a roundhouse kick, but Roxanne Perez dodges it in the last second. Roxanne was like, no, I don't want none of that. And you're and plus you're too slow. And then this is where Roxanne Perez was spinning around. This is where spin around and wait for Asuka to hit the next move, but both women were trying to go for. But it looks like Roxanne Perez's strategy worked, because when she pretends she was trying to grapple with her again, she ducks, hits her, grabs her from behind, hit a back and gut some amateur style move. This is where she puts her in a headlock. This is where Asuka tried to lift her back, but she was still hanging on. This is where she started punching Roxanne Perez right into the midsection. This is where she Irish whip to the other side of the rope. She runs right there. And then Roxanne Perez tried to shoulder tackle her, but Asuka was still standing like she was a 300-pounder. And this is where Roxanne Perez shoved Asuka right between right on both shoulders. This is where she shoved her right back. This is where Roxanne Perez slapped the absolute taste out of her mouth, like that. I bet she's probably numb to this this very night right here, like a few hours later. And then this is where Asuka's like, yeah, like, I'm gonna remember this, like, yeah, that's right, yeah, like that, but that's all you've got. I'm trying to hit her left and right here. This is where she ducks, she runs up, hits a flying closer right into the Empress of Tomorrow. And Roxanne Perez is like, yeah, you think it's gonna be easy to bring me down? And this is where she got ready to go to the ropes. This is where she hits a suicide dive, but this is where Asuka picks her off, hits her with a right hand, makes her go back into the ring. This is where Asuka comes back in the ring. This is where she hits a top rope, I believe, crossbody, or no, missile dropkick. This is where she tried to pin Roxanne Perez, but she only got a 2. This is where she hits a roundhouse kick to Roxanne Perez, starts kicking right into her face, starts stepping and kicking. This is where she throws her right and flips her over like if she was Toni Storm right into the bottom right corner of Tina the Turnbuckle. This is where Asuka spins around saying like, yeah, nobody's ready, not even the prodigy Roxanne. And she hits a flying hip attack right onto Roxanne, right into the corner. This is where she starts stepping on her and putting her foot right onto her face, into Roxanne's face. This is where she pushed it off. This is where she started walking around. This is where she got her in an arm lock, like some kind of a sideways arm bar, like what MJF would do it, like, or Becky Lynch has disarmed her. This is where half the fans start chanting, "Let's go, Asuka," and the other side say, "Let's go, Roxy, let's go, Asuka, let's go, Roxy," that's Roxanne Perez's old name from her days in Ring of Honor, is Roxy, in her independent wrestling days. This is where Asuka slams her right into her back, and this is where she steps her right into the face. This is where Asuka starts continuing kicking and stepping on her face. This is what made Roxanne Perez even more ticked off. She was like, "Come on, bring me more, I can handle it." This is where she's like, "Come on, bring more." She tried to kick her. She caught her leg. She hits a swinging forearm right into Asuka's face. She hit another forearm right in the face. She the third time she started hitting her with chops and slaps and punches right onto Asuka, back and forth with like a pinwheel with fist, like those solar panels with arms and fist. And then this is where she ducks on Asuka's clothesline, hits a middle missile drop kick right onto Asuka. This is where Asuka got back up impressively. This is where she twists Asuka's arm. She goes for a side Russian leg sweep right onto Asuka. This is where Roxanne Perez was getting back and getting extra hyped for the get back into this match and be the first one to beat her in NXT and break her streak. This is where she successfully hits the suicide dive. She puts her back in the ring. This is where Roxanne tried to get back in the ring. This is where she's like, okay, I'm ready to finish her off. And then she hits a running uppercut right onto the top left corner of the. She tried to go for another one. This is where Asuka kicks her right in the face. This is where I go for the mid rope. This is where she tried to stop her from getting on the top rope, but she tried to grab on her leg. She caught it, put it back up. This is where she tried to go for some kind of a mid rope slam. But first she started hitting her with a few striking forearms right on the top rope, like 1, 2 with the fans chanting them all, 3, like 4, 5, 6, like 5, 6, 7. Before she can even get to 6 or 7, this is where Asuka moves out of the way. This is where she walked down the other side. This is where she tried to run up to Roxanne when she was on the top right corner of Tina Turnbuckle. This is where she hits a springboard crossbody, which is the springiest and the most comeback move in all sports entertainment. And this is where she tried to go for a pin, but she got a 1, 2, and she kicks out at 1.1 second. This is where This is where Roxanne Perez goes for a striking elbow right to the head of Asuka, repeatedly for a second time. She hits it for a third. And this is where Roxanne Perez runs and do a running strike onto Asuka, but she got intercepted with a roundhouse kick from the Empress, a front roundhouse. This is where she kicks out at 2. This is where she tried to go for the Asuka lock, but Roxanne Perez is not going to let it go there because she rolled out of it. Goes for the most devastating move in all sports entertainment, surprise roll-up, but she kicks out. This is where she went for another roll-up, but she kicks out at 2 again. This is where Roxanne Perez tried to go for one more, thinking the third time is going to be a charm, but unfortunately not this. But she did it in a way. She twisted her arms around her legs and then twisted her legs together, try to go for a pin, but she only got a 2 even count. This is where Asuka managed to intercept and got the Asuka lock locked in. Like, Roxanne's in trouble. Like, can Roxanne escape, or can she free herself and escape, or Asuka had this and remains undefeated? This is where she rolls her up like Kairi Sane and AJ Styles would have done. And this is where we go for a 1-2, kicks out. This is where Roxanne Perez tried to go up for the ropes. This is where she gets roundhouse kicked by Asuka and got a kick up right to her head. This is where she hits another kick to the midsection and hits a spinning roundhouse kick out of nowhere. And then this is where Asuka's like, whoa, yeah. And then she hits a back and then hit a spinning kick to her. And she hit the spinning kick right into Roxanne's head. And surprisingly, that got her to 1, 2, 3. I was like, wow. Like, I would expect it like that other roundhouse kick or even the Asuka lock will put her away for sure, like she did with her last victims and the last time she was in NXT, when she was NXT Women's Champion. And I was like, wow, I never expected. I thought Roxanne Perez had her beaten. But no, like it turns out that Asuka beat her. And then what you thought about this there's a big victory from Asuka over the former NXT, the fellow former NXT Women's Champion. Do you think that Asuka should remain undefeated, or do you think that Roxanne Perez should have been the one that defeated her? Now would have benefited her for her journey of joining the main roster and have something to talk about in her resume in WWE. But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all thought about that in the comment section down below. This is where Kiana James came out of nowhere and tried to mug what's her name, Roxanne Perez in a post-match beatdown. Like, I was like, you're really gonna do this right now, Kiana? Like, she went through enough facing Asuka as it is. This is where Roxanne Perez was saved by the bell because because Shotzi hit her with a super kick right in the midsection and a knee right to the face and a spinning kick right to the head, and then go for the sideways the Fisher Buster, I should say, that send Kiana packing. I was like, look like we got another main roster wrestler that's going to be in the match, possibly next week, which that's going to be confirmed, I think, like later on in the night. But this is where we see a big Chevy SUV pull up right in front of the Performance Center, and that was none other than the special counsel of the tribal chief, none other than Paul Heyman, coming out of the vehicle. This is where to start hyping up more about the match. This is where we move on to the next. This is where we start off with the pub. The European pub street fight match with the Brawling Brutes' Rich Holland and Butch teaming with Tyler Bate against the Gallus Boys. And they come from behind and start beating them in a disadvantaged situation. This is where they land Tyler Bate flapjacked right into the hardest part of the ring, which is known as the ring apron. This is where they did a triple power bomb right onto Butch. And then this is when they start hyping up and they start going absolute nuts and going absolute ballistic on it. This is where, but Braun Brutes came back. This is where Butch started fighting. I believe he started going brawling head to head when they started fighting with the Gallus Boys, going fist to fist, 3-on-3. This is where Butch and and Joe Coffey went on the outside and the ringside, started punching each other to death, right near out on the announce table. This is where Tyler Bate got I believe was Wolfgang, and then what's his name got Joe Coffey, Mark Coffey, Joe Coffey's brother. Mark Coffey, Ridge Holland got on his shoulders, and then Tyler Bate got Wolfgang on his shoulders, and they start spinning them around like and spinning around until the point that they to make the Gallows boys more woozy and dizzy and too distracted of the dizziness of even paying attention in the match. Making it look like if they're a British version of Cesaro, doing it in the process. This is where they went right on the ringside area. This is where they started hitting 10 beats, more like 20 beats to the brawl. It looked like they did it perfectly with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, with Ridge Holland doing it with Mark Coffey, and then Tyler Bate doing it with Wolfgang, and Butch doing it to what's his name on the announce table to Joe Coffey. Like they started hitting them with fists like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then they're like, oh, they're putting their hands up to do more. Like if they're like, oh, like do it 10 more beats. And then they're like 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Like quick as they can. This is where they brought them back in the ring. This is where Ridge Holland, or this is where both Ridge Holland, Butch, and Tyler Bate did the stop sign right hand knockout right into 3 members of Gallus. And then this is where Victor was like, bam. And then this is where Ridge Holland hits a striking headbutt right into Joe Coffey. And this is where Butch had him in a German suplex position, but he waited for Tyler Bate to hit the head rebound lariat to do a double team onto him, like which they did successfully. And then this is where they pinned like 1, 2, and Joe Coffey had all his energy. Or no, I was wrong. It was his brother Mark Coffey. They did it too. Like, and he had some pinch of luck to kick out at 2.999 because it looked like they're about to win right here. This is where Wolfgang threw both Butch and Ridge Holland outside the ring. This is where he hits a rolling senton dive right onto both Brawling Brutes members. This is where Tyler Bate was still in the ring. This is where I believe Joe Coffey got back in the ring. This is when fans were like, holy shit, like holy SHIT. And then yeah, because they just did it right out. Because he just did it right out of nowhere. Because I don't think he really have done a dive over the top rope before. Like, this is very shocking from Wolfgang. And he probably weighs nearly 300 pounds. And Wolfgang just did this. And then this is where Tyler Bate and Joe Coffey was back in the ring. I was like, this is like 2019 all over again for 2 reasons. The first one, because when NXT UK was still around. And 2, AEW's on the same night at the same time as NXT. Like when they were on TNT on Wednesdays while NXT was on Wednesdays. And then I was like, this is like watching this all over again. Like, this bring back memories from 4 years ago when I started the SNA persona in the first place. But anyways, this is where Joe Coffey started hitting right hands, and this is where in the ring, this is where he tried to go for a strike, but he tied his hands together and kicks them off in his face, and then he tried to go for a mid-rope European uppercut. This is where Joe Coffey catches him and hits him with a German suplex, and then this is where he picks him up into a power bomb or some kind of a pile driving Boston Crab maneuver, because he had it locked in and stretching him in the back. This is where Ridge Holland came in right on top and hit him with the kendo stick back first. This is where he started hitting Boston Crab of his own. This is where Mark Coffey tried to come in to save his brother, but Butch came in, hits him with a triangle, grabbed him by his arm and around his neck, hits him with the triangle choke. This is where Tyler Bate grabbed the kendo stick, and when Wolfgang tried to come in, he grabs him and put his face right onto the kendo stick while hitting the crossface right onto Wolfgang. And this is where they had it locked in. This is where I'm trying to make him tap, but somehow somehow, surprisingly, they got out of it so easily when they got a chance to get out of it. And then this is where Tyler Bate was hitting right forearms right to Wolfgang. Wolfgang responded back with a right strike with his forearm. This is where he started going back and forth. He slapped him right into his face. This is where he tried to go for a pump drop kick right onto Wolfgang, but Wolfgang no-sold and moved out of the way and accidentally kicked Tyler Bate on accident. And then and I bet Wolfgang learned this from Samoa Joe by watching him from doing this ever since his TNA day. And then this is where he waited right on time, hit him with a striking splash right on the butch, right into the top left corner. This is where let's see right here what happened next. We got this is where Wolf. This is where he hits his, I believe, his signature move. This is where he pinned him. I go one, try to go for a two, but Tyler Bate came right on time and made sure he did not get the seek out the victor. This is where Ridge Holland came in. He's like, I'm gonna get the tables. The shout out to the Dudley Boys, of course. This is where they put the tables up, like, and then the fans are like, we want tables, clap, 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 clap. And they're like, tables. Like, yeah. And Booker T's like, oh yes, being more extra excited than usual as a more than a homeless man in a hurricane. And this is where he tried to go for a Tiger driver right on the Tyler driver right onto through the table, but to Mark Coffey. But Wolfgang came up and hit a slamming clothesline I've ever seen from a individual / wrestler. I was like, how he did that? Like, it was like, that's like a linebacker doing that, trying to go for a clothesline to a quarterback for a sack. This is where the both two former NXT UK tag team champions are doing double or even double axe handles onto Ridge Holland right to his back. This is where Ridge Holland lifts him up and flips him over right over hitting him with a body slam or body drop, I should say, right on the outside. This is where Joe Coffey tried to go for a discus clothesline. This is where he tried to go up and try to hit attacking move right onto Joe Coffey, but Joe Coffey elbows him. This is where he tried to go for a springboard crossbody, like a double dip springboard crossbody. Like, probably learned that from Kofi Kingston, of course. This is where he's like, all right, this is my chance. Like, he's gonna be tables a turn, like, and no pun intended. And this is where he tried to go for a power bomb right to the, but Butch said, not this time. Hits him with a step-up insecurity right into Joe Coffey's face. And then this is where he landed and bounced back from the rope and hit the most devastating discus clothesline I've ever seen in all of sports entertainment / professional wrestling. This is where, let's see right here. This is when fans are like, this is awesome. Like, I totally agree with these fans. Like, and then this is where he grabbed a cup of beer, which I'll say, which me and Vic Joseph and I believe all the rest of the wrestling fans, including you guys, thought it was Booker T. And this is where he's like, he took your beer, and then Vic Joseph like, no, I thought that was your beer, and he's like, no. And I guess it was all part of the antique of something that's decorated the ring full of bar-like items, like you would get like if you have in a local European pub. But yeah, he grabbed it, he took a sip out of it, threw some of it right into Butch's face onto the table. This is where Tyler Bate came in and he grabbed the drink, crushed it, and hit the crushed up glass cup and beer remainings right into his face. This is where Butch got back up, hit him with and bend his fingers. And this is where he bends his fingers back. This is where they try to go for a double bitter end maneuver mixed with Ridge Holland getting him into between his legs, got his head between his legs, like into a powerbomb position, like into a double bitter triple powerbomb, triple bitter end powerbomb maneuver right through the table with Joe Coffey landing right into with Tyler Bate getting the pin they got the 1, 2, 3. And then they got a satisfying end into this rivalry. And and finally putting their feud with Gallus to rest. And what do you think? What's next for the former inaugural NXT UK champion and the other former NXT UK champion was tag partner Ridge Holland? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. And are we going to see more of Butch on NXT, or we're going to probably not going to see him for a little while? And that was just some kind of a one-off at the moment, and he's going to be exclusively and remaining on SmackDown in the time being. I'm gonna let y'all know, let y'all to decide on that down below. We got some hype vignettes with Lyra Valkyria. Lyra Valkyria being the next number one contender for Becky Lynch's NXT Women's Championship. And then she got interviewed by what's her name, Mackenzie Mitchell, asking her a couple of questions about what do you have to say. And this, before you have a chance to say, this is where Ortega Knox accidentally interrupted Lyra Valkyria, or not, or maybe not. This accidental or not, or not, either way, I should say. But this is where she was like, "I saw your match. You did pretty awesome, and it was." Lyra Valkyria, thank you so much, Tegan. Like, I saw it was wrong with that. You could have gotten the other way, and this is what he got. That's exactly what I did. I was seconds away of being Becky. I was like, that's true. I was basically smashing over her. I was like, yeah, that's true, because you were this close to winning. The referee mistakenly botched the pinfall by putting his hand on the mat, even though he didn't say 3. I'm not sure if he should have done that. Like, that was probably out of the plans. This is what Becky Lynch like. So, unfortunately, what I'm going to do is the title I have to wait. And this is where Live got killed. Was like, and he was like, my title match I have to wait. Like, I used to reach that in the Tegan lane. Like, I worked my entire career off at this opportunity at Halloween Havoc. You couldn't get the job done last night, and I'm afraid you're going to have to step back on. And Halloween Havoc is the biggest night of my career in this industry. And I'm not going to let anybody get in the way. Like, and she stormed off. This is where Tegan Knox was having second thoughts of accidentally or not provoking Lyra Valkyria, of saying the title match out the way just for her favor to get her opportunity to get in a rematch. And then it's been announced that Tegan Knox will face Lyra Valkyria, possibly to get a spot at the NXT Women's Championship at NXT. What's it called? At NXT. Halloween Havoc event. But yeah, she was looking like a colorful hair version of Becky Lynch when she started making that frown face, like what Becky Lynch would be doing when she doesn't see nothing very happily. But they showed when Lyra Valkyria was getting her start 5 years ago, back in December 2018, at a wrestling school like that. They were training the new upcoming wrestlers from Ireland, and she was happened to be one of the women, and she got to get to train with her idol Becky Lynch. And I was like, she really did. Like, I know she was inspired by her, but I didn't know she actually got a chance to train with her when she started her career as a professional wrestler. But yeah, I believe Lyra Valkyria is going to win. I'm sorry she's going to have to take her biggest L that she has ever gained in her wrestling career, Tegan Knox. But I believe she will be a future champion, whether it be in the WWE Women's Championship, the NXT Women's Championship, or the Women's World Championship. She's still on her way from that. This is where John Cena, I believe John Cena came out of the ring, cut a promo of welcome his first time being on NXT with NXT being on a cable channel like USA. This is where we're going to talk about. Yeah, this is his first time he started talking to the NXT universe, because the last time he was on NXT, he was on a dark segment when they were on exclusively on WWE.com back 10 years ago in 2013 with Damian Sandow. But anyways, this is what fans were like, Cena, and John Cena was like, let's see right here. When fans start chanting Cena, this is what make me start saying Cena. And And everybody talks about how NXT is the future of WWE. And he's like, I guess they can't see the work they can make in history tonight, which is the reference of saying this is they're probably the biggest NXT event they ever had. And then and this because they're going head to head, like I always keep saying, this is the Tuesday Night War Week edition of NXT, like same with Dynamite. And this is where he was like, the LA Knight is referee with he's like Cody Rhodes is gonna be the special guest general manager. LA Knight's the special guest referee. He's like, I'm still waiting for my pint, by the way, pointing at Booker T. He's like, you see my theme song? And this is what makes this place beautiful, right? And everybody's like, right? And this place makes me great. It's each and every one of you guys. And then what happens right here at NXT every Tuesday night. And everybody's like, yeah, like tell it, Cena. And we love you here in NXT. And John Cena's like, he was very happy that he's making his first appearance in a while of being on NXT. He's like, I may be in this room, and it's all long overdue. Like, because the last time he had been on NXT event was 10 years. He's like, it's my honor to be allowed to share space with you guys tonight. Like, thank you very much. Fans like, yay! And this John Cena's like, I'm not alone right now. In that case, like, that's why LA Knight's here. That's why Cody Rhodes is here. And then the fans like, thank you, Cena. Yeah, clap. And they start clapping. It's like, thank you, Cena. Clap, 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 clap. The fans start saying, thank you, Cena. And then John Cena was like, and he's laughing for and then this is where he started cracking up about most of them are around the Capitol Wrestling Center was mostly chanting "Thank you, Cena." All the fans, the haters, the still negative haters that's chanting "Cena sucks." I was like, really? When it's at a time that we get to see John Cena, like because he's making movies in Hollywood, it's very rare to see John Cena nowadays. Like, so appreciate him while he's still here. And then this is where he pointed out to one of the Super John Cena fans saying, saying the honor is the core value, and I have the core value, and I have tons of respect to that. Pointing to the fan, and he's like, and then he also said something's core value of his. Let's see. He's like, gratitude is also a core value of mine. And he's like, thank you guys too. And then he's like, thank you for creating the environment that I wanted to visit, that Cody Rhodes wanted to visit, and LA Knight wants to visit, and then maybe Becky Lynch wants to visit, and Seth Rollins wants to visit. And then there's a list of WWE superstars that kicking out that door, that's staying right here, but they started at in NXT, except for Cody Rhodes, of course. He's like, I can say whatever I want. We are SmackDown. Yes, we are Raw. Like, but we're also NXT. And that's when the fans said it with him. And then this is where Braun Breaker comes out and kind of interrupts him. And I was like, oh boy, like we have a tease of this NXT treatment. And then, but before that, John Cena also said, I want to give respect and thank Melo for me being here to be in this corner tonight. And then this is where Braun Breaker comes out, and he's like, and then this is where John Cena make a joke about Braun Breaker. Said it's like a wild dog in a karaoke bar right now. Am I right? And everybody started laughing and cheering like, ah. And then even got a laugh from Vic Joseph. And then this is when the fans were like, Oh, Braun Breaker sucks. Braun Breaker sucks. I was like, I used to hear that when John Cena back a few years ago. Now they're doing that with Braun Breaker because he just rudely interrupted and disrespectfully did so to the legend like John Cena in the business. And then this is where John Cena's like, like they used to say that to me. They used to say that before, and I remember hearing that song before. It sounds very familiar, referencing they used to do that with him when he was getting a bit too much of opportunities of getting in the main event scene. And then some of the fans did not like that, and they started chanting those chants. But this time, they're doing that with Braun Breaker. Like, Braun Breaker sucks because John Cena's the legend that puts over every younger and upcoming stars in the WWE. And then John Cena was like, this is very, but I like the song. Like, Braun, and then this is where Braun Breaker was like, thanks, John Cena, for coming. Yeah, it's great to see you here, like, John Cena. Let me, it's a big night for NXT tonight, isn't it? It's a big night for WWE. Fans like, yeah, absolutely, it's a big night for WWE. Braun Breaker was like, let me give you a little fact. He's like, these people right here didn't came here to see you, and everybody's like, the hell we didn't. That's what the fans were like when Braun Breaker said that, and he was like, and then John Cena's like, they can't. Sarcastically, and this is what Braun Breaker was like, they came here to see me, and the fans were like, oh, boo, we did not want to came here to see you. Like, if we did, we'll be leaving out of the building. Braun Breaker's like, you think it's like some kind of fantasy land, like Bromwell Hayes actually had the chance to beat me, beat me, the badass Braun Breaker, and then the fans are like, BS, and they're like, Braun Breaker's an a-hole, Braun Breaker's an a-hole. And I was like, this kind of reminds me of when The Rock said that this half of the fans are going to say you are, and then the other half say an a-hole to Austin Theory when a few weeks ago or a month ago, where he made his long-awaited return in over 4 years, or nearly 4 years, I should say, because it was in September, of course. But they did that phrase, like, you are a-hole, and then Austin Theory's like, all right, that's enough. Like, I don't hear nothing else. But yeah, this is what kind of reminds me of, and I even told my mom, and she would start laughing out loud, like, ha ha ha. And then this is where Braun Breaker was like, and he's like, you're the greatest of all time in this corner. You're gonna have the greatest of all time getting in this corner, Cena. Everybody knows that the business is in your butt right now. He's like, we can all see, here's your tank top. You are athletically gifted, and we all know that right now. We also know that you are glaring weakness, man, is your attitude. And the fans like, oh, like, because he just straight up roasted him, it's sad for him, but true for Braun Breaker is a heel right now. Yeah, he is. But anyway, and if Johnson's like, you lack of respect. I didn't came out here to run it down, but now you're here. Braun Breaker started grinning. He's like, go ahead, finish what you're about to say. John Cena was about to do that. And this is where fans start chanting. What did he say? Let's see. And this was like, let him. He's like, let him. What's that? Make him lose or whatever. What was it? They said something, but John Cena responded like, "No, this is a teachable moment right now." John Cena's like, and he started doing the bowing with the hands with Cena. This is what John Cena's like, I'm sorry for this match tonight, and I am here to respectfully wish you good luck. And he started pull out his hand and handshake. This is when Braun Breaker looked like he's about to handshake and finally get out of character for once on the show. This is where Braun Breaker was like, I've been watching this guy as a kid. This is where he's like, you know what? Like, I'm not gonna do this. And he's like, went back to heel mode and he struck him right into with his right hand, knocking him out so hard, like to the point that his trademark hat came off. This is where fans are booing, boo, like you a-hole, you a-hole. This is where Braun Breaker's like, get your ass up, Cena. And then this is where Vic Joseph's like, what the hell? Like, he didn't need to do all that. This is where he tried to spear Cena, but Cena moved out of the way right on time. This is where Cena waited for him to get on, turn around, try to go for the attitude jump, but Braun Breaker cowardly escaped out of it and rolled out of it. And John Cena's like, yeah, run like a coward. Go on, yeah. Like, yeah, you think you got it? You got me with that easy strike? And this is where he's like, you hear that? Like, yeah, like, guess who's the one standing up tall? And up next, we got the NXT. So, yeah, the NXT championship was on the line because they announced it because they're saying like that it was because it was up next. It was Ilya Dragunov defending his newly won NXT championship against against Dirty Dominic Mysterio with LA Knight, is the special guest referee. And then we're going to talk about that right here, where how it started. This is where LA Knight had his usual jeans and his vest on, along with his special guest referee shirt on. The call to action into this match between the North American champion and the Mad Dragon NXT champion. Let's see.
There's more match on BTV, but earlier it's 1 hour.
Let's see right here. This we got Ilya Dragunov right into a headlock. He throws him right into the side to a body slam. And then Dominic Mysterio was grabbing on his back like, no, I don't want no more. Please don't beat me up more. LA Knight's like, and then LA Knight's like, no, don't get him too much. Like he's have a disadvantage anyway, so don't go too close to him. This is where LA Knight tells Dominic Mysterio's like, you come back here, it's safe. Like, even though you're gonna get your butt kicked, but it's still safe in here because I'm here. Come on, get back in, looking like Stone Cold Steve Austin if he was a special guest referee. That's how LA Knight kind of remind me of. But even though I'm still not sure that he's gonna be the next Rock, but he don't have to be because he's getting famous with the LA Knight chant. But still the way he said it. It looks like he's trying to still be like The Rock or somebody, or Stone Cold. But it's his own version of it. But we'll talk more about that in a minute. But this was a very fun match. Like, I would say perhaps the second match of the night, if I had to think of a second match, next to the main event. This is where Ilya Dragunov hits him with a headlock slam right into the canvas. This is where he tried to pin him. This is where LA Knight count to 1, 2. This is where Dominic kicks out. This is where Ilya Dragunov puts him into a guillotine hold, like a guillotine headlock hold, I should say. But this is where he started punching left and right and speared him right to the top right corner of Tina the Turnbuckle. This is where he started hitting the right hand strikes right onto the Mad Dragon. This is where LA Knight's like, when he walked past LA Knight, he was like, I'm just doing my job. Like, don't shoot the messenger. This is where he hits another strike right here to Ilya Dragunov, but he chopped him so hard, like to the point I believe Gunther added him to the list, and he probably cannot wait for him to join the main roster so he can chop him for justice. But even though it wasn't the loudest, but it was probably like the hardest you could feel into professional wrestling. But it was silent but deadly, what I'm trying to say right now. It was so hard. This is where Ilya Dragunov hits a standing senton right onto right on to Dominic right into the middle of the ground. This is where he gets back up, get into the corner. This is where he hits a knife edge chop right into the bottom right corner or bottom left corner with Dominic. Then he went to the bottom left corner, or top right left corner. Then went to the bottom left corner and started another chop. He gets the suplex right onto Ilya Dragunov. This is where he goes for another one. And this is where he tried to go for one more, like if he was Brock Lesnar, both Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle combined. But this is where Rhea Ripley tried to come in and distract the referee. This is where Rhea Ripley distract LA Knight. He's like, hey, you can't get on there. Like, just because I'm a special guest referee doesn't mean I'm gonna let you get away with this. I was put to do this fair assignment, and I'm gonna make sure it stays that way. Put on the fair assignment of being a special guest referee. So get your cheating, conniving ass off the apron. This is where Dominic Mysterio got enough time to rake Ilya's eyes, trying to win with a cheap shot. This is where, and then slam him back first right into the canvas. This is where Dominic Mysterio throws him right between the middle ropes. This is where, and then this is where Booker T tried to come up with an excuse again, like he did for Dominic Mysterio, like he did at the No Mercy pay-per-view when he faced against Trick Williams. He's trying to go for what's that called? What Booker T said. He was like, Booker T was trying to take up for him, trying to be the tweener balance commentator that he is, because he takes up a certain babyface and a certain heels. And then this is where, he don't know the logistics of. Like, the referee didn't know the logistics of Dirty Dom's strategy. And then this is where Vic Joseph went full-time babyface mode onto Booker T, saying, like, logistics my ass. Like, this, like, cheating is cheating, and you're not supposed to be doing that, like, no matter what. And then this should not be happening at all. And this is where Dirty Dominic got Ilya Dragunov back in the ring. And then this is where Ilya Dragunov managed to get back in the game. This is where he started hitting more chops, but he ducks. He slapped him with a chop, which was probably the heavy hitting and the loudest chops of the night, which he's probably also is added on to Gunther's list, and he's probably going to defend his Intercontinental Championship. For probably whether if he's challenging Dominic Mysterio for his North American title or not. Like, I bet he probably challenge him for championship and teach him a lesson for trying to make him envious as well, along with Ilya Dragunov. Like, getting the loudest chops. This is when Rhea Ripley's like, yeah. And this is where Ilya Dragunov's like, are you serious? Like, that's all you got? And this is the fans start chanting, you effed up to Dominic Mysterio's like, you effed up. You effed up. You effed up. And this is where Ilya Dragunov started hitting forearms right into like boom, boom. They had to mute it so much because they have restrictions on USA. You're not supposed to say that. Like, unless if it was probably on Peacock, then Neil probably would have gotten away with saying that. But they were on USA Network, so they had to mute it down because of the rating. But anyway, this is where Ilya Dragunov started hitting forearms, the left, rights, and then this is where they went for another chop, like the fans do stuff. He started hitting more silent, deadly chops right onto Dirty Dominic Mysterio, being like an AEW's version of Eddie Kingston, the guy that he probably haven't wrestled in 5 years because that was the time before Ilya went to NXT, and then Eddie Kingston joined AEW in 2020. The following years than twos. But anyway, this is where he started hitting chops, looked like Eddie Kingston in the process, looking like a Russian version of Eddie Kingston, started chopping him, repeating with a boom, 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 boom. Like dang, like it may be silent, but it's deadly. And then this is where Gunther's like, okay, you and Eddie Kingston made it on as my top two guys that's provoking me right now. And I want y'all two in a triple threat match, I bet. That's what he's probably saying. Because he's doing it too much like the Mad King was doing. And I was like, okay, this is why he's the world champion of NXT. Just like, this is what LA Knight's like, okay, like that was really great and impressive. But remember, like, there's the 5-second warning if you don't stop when I say when I start doing my count. This is where Ilya Dragunov puts him between his legs, try to go for a power bomb, but Dominic Mysterio counters and start punching right into his head. Counter, hit him with a sideways super kick. This is where he turned around. This is where he drop kicked him right in his back, landed right into the left side corner of the ropes, into the with his face and his upper torso hanging on the ropes. Arms, head, and upper torso, I should say, and shoulders. This is where Dominic Mysterio said, "This is the perfect time to hit my deadbeat dad's finishing move or signature move nowadays, which is now known as." This is where he tried to go for a 619, but he moved just by an inch. This is where Ilya Dragunov hits a big running boot right onto Dominic's face. This is where Vic Joseph's like a big boot, like, "Yeah, get him, Mad Dragon," and then this is where Ilya Dragunov hits a side swinging, looking like a 619 position, like when he swing right onto the middle ropes into a rebound clothesline. This is where he tried to hit him with a clothesline, but this is where Dom Mysterio counters it. This is where he hits him with a flapjack slingshot. This is where Dominic Mysterio goes up right with a 619 right onto Ilya Dragunov. This is where he thought that's going to be it. This is where he pins. This is where LA Knight did his count 1, 2, but he kicks out at the near last second of 2.8 seconds. And then this is where Vic Joseph's like, "Woo, that was a close one." And then this is where Booker T's like, couldn't you imagine that Dirty Dominic walked out of here as the new NXT champion, along with being the NXT North American champion? I was like, yeah, that would probably make him the second ever NXT champion to be both NXT champion and the North American champion at the same time, next to Keith Lee, of course. But look, thank God, and I thank God right now that that's not the case. Like, it could be anybody else but Dirty Doms. But this is where Dirty Doms was like, this is where he tried to go up on the top rope, but Ilya tried to go up. This is where he slaps him right in the face, like, "You did not just do that." And the fans were chanting, "You effed up" a little bit again. This is where he grabbed it by his face and smacked it across. This is where Ilya Dragunov goes right up on the top rope. This is where he tried to go for his. This is where he tried to do a suplex right off to the top rope. This is where he lifts him up and slams him to the superplex, flipping right over Dominic. This is where Ilya Dragunov's like, "I gotta get up, get back conscious, Dragunov." This is where he's like, "Oh," like he's getting up. This is where he's getting ready right into the corner. He's like, "Oh, damn, like I should have known he's gonna roll out to his mommy." And this is where Ilya Dragunov was like, "You know what? Forget it. Like, mommy or no mommy, I'm bringing him back in so I can show him what a real champion is." This is where Dominic Mysterio kicks while laying down on the apron. This is where he kicks him right in the midsection and DDTs him face first right into the hardest part of the ring, which is the ring apron. This is where he gets him up, try to go for the Three Amigos, but I don't think Ilya Dragunov was going to allow it because he twisted him right in the arm, knee him right into the midsection. This is where Ilya Dragunov hits a stand-up power bomb, and then he got to go up and hits that striking X-bomb, like with the forearm right into his face with him down on the ground. And this is where it looks like Ilya Dragunov's going to finish him off. This is where he's like, "Nope, not quite finished yet." And this is where I get ready to hit the torpedo headbutt right onto Dominic Mysterio. This is where Finn Balor and JD McDonough came in. This is where he hits a right hand right onto Finn Balor and send him packing. This is where JD McDonough tried to attack him from behind LA Knight's back, and this is where it got backfired because as soon as JD McDonough tried to splash him right onto Ilya Dragunov, he missed because he moved out of the way in the last second, bounced off, turned around, got the BFT from LA Knight. LA Knight, like, to send him packing as well with his best friend Finn Balor. And then this is where he throws him out of the ring with his buddy. This is where Vic Joseph like, "See you later." And then this is where Rhea Ripley tried to hit behind LA Knight's back. She tried to hit Ilya Dragunov with her Women's World Championship. But this is where Ilya Dragunov ducks. This is where Trick Williams tripped her over, did the trick pulled the trick, or more like pulled the trip, I should say, called Rhea Ripley the trip rather than a trick, positive minds, even though she does look like a trick, but that's a story for another day. But anyway, this is where Trick Williams pulled the trick, more like pull and trip to the trick. This is where Rhea Ripley's like, this is where he started being joking, like holding on to her, looking like did Dominic ever did this? And she was like, ew, like no, like what are you doing? Like nobody did that to me except for my sweet Latino heat. I was like, wait, like I thought, and I was thinking like wait, like I thought Buddy Matthews do that to you, Carrie, and you carry Dominic. But no matter either way, what the relationship is between you and Dominic, I don't care. But this is what I do care about, like with Ilya Dragunov hitting a torpedo headbutt right onto Dominic Mysterio for the 1-2-2, and still your NXT champion. And what you thought about this match? Like, do you think it reached expectations or even higher or lower? Y'all let me know down in the comments. I think it reached higher in expectations. Because I didn't even expect this was going to be a match in the first place, despite them being around in the programming with the Mad Dragon, along with Carmelo Hayes. And what's going on with Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams? But yeah, that remains to be seen. Like, but I was like, Dominic Mysterio probably go for the NXT championship, but I know it's going to be tonight. Like, even though this is the biggest NXT episode of the year, because this is going head to head with All Elite Wrestling's Dynamite show. But anyways. What y'all thought about this match? Do you think it was very entertaining or could it have been better? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. We're going to move on to the next. This is where Baron Corbin came out of nowhere. He's like, that's my, hey, look, watch out behind you. And then this is where he gets big booted by Dijak. This is where they went face to face saying like, no, that NXT championship is mine. Like, no, like looking like face to face, like without saying anything, of course. But it's been announced that they're going to be in a number one contenders triple threat match for the exact NXT championship title, and it's going to be next week, and it's going to be a triple threat match with those two, and also between Braun Breaker or Carmelo Hayes to see who's going to get a shot at the NXT championship. And I would say Carmelo Hayes, but it looks like there's going to be some kind of shenanigans going on, so it looks like it possibly will be a Baron Corbin with Baron Corbin striking the win, which I'm not sure. It could be on either Carmelo Hayes or Braun Breaker. Like, yeah, because like I'll say it's gonna be some shenanigans. I'll say as much as I would love to be Carmelo Hayes, the problem even if he wins this NXT title match, I should say, because if I say because you're gonna see exactly what I mean by that, but we're gonna talk about that just in a moment here, but we're going to talk about, putting more, but there's going to be some, if Carmelo Hayes won against Braun Breaker and be in the triple threat match, or if Braun Breaker, I don't think he's going to win. I think it's going to be Corbin that's going to get an opportunity against Ilya Dragunov at Night 2's Halloween Havoc, perhaps, be the main event, of course. But what do you think was going to be next for NXT as they going on to the road of Halloween Havoc this at the end of the month on Tuesday on Halloween? Y'all let me know straight down in the comment section down below. But let's move on to the next. We're going to move on with John Studdum backstage with Carmelo Hayes motivating him and telling him like just stay focused on your match against Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes was he's like, I know. Like that's what I'm exactly doing right now. This was and this was John said, like, thank you for calling me, man. Or Carmelo Hayes was like, yeah, thank you, and thank you for giving me that advice that I needed, like last week. Even though I felt let down that I lost my NXT title, but it got me the motivation I need to get back into that rankings. And this is where John Cena's like, how many that ruthless aggression against Braun? It's like, are you kidding me? Like I couldn't do it double or even half the much as what I did when I made my debut. This is where Trick Williams was like, yeah, it's John Cena here, like at the PC. And then this is where he's like, and thank you for coming to NXT, man. Like it means a lot to us, like for Trick Mel game. Like this is where he's like, and this is where Carmelo Hayes was like, I apologize what happened to you last week. Like now And I promise you that you will get your title back, like as much as I'm getting my title back in NXT. And this is what Trick Williams was like, yeah, now's not the time. Like, we can discuss that later. But for now, we have John Cena here in the building right now. This is what we need to talk about. And he's like, now you came to see me? You really came to see me, making a you can't see me joke, like saying you came to see me. And he's like, I'm just kidding, man. Yeah, come on, guys, you're friends here and superstars. Like, y'all gonna be championships again. Like, don't worry about with John on my side, I'm taking out Braun now. And I'm gonna get back my NXT championship that I lost. And he's like, and then we're gonna get your NXT North American Championship too, Trick. So we can all be double gold Trick Milligan again. And he was like, yeah, like and that's all it is. That's all going in. And this is where Carmelo is like, yeah, it's all going to be along with Trick Milligan saying they start doing a handshake. They're like, yeah, and that's what we're talking about. And he was like, and this is where he did that. And this is where Trick Williams did that frown face, looking straight at Carmelo Hayes. And this is where John Cena's like, "Are you good, man?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm doing good." And then it looks like there could be some teases about this, like what if Carmelo Hayes does win this match and goes to a triple threat match? Like, there's gonna be some shenanigans, whether if it's from the Judgment Day or even a surprising heel turn from Trick Williams. Which I'll say I'm not prepared for that just yet, like because we hardly had Trick Milligan being double champion in NXT, double gold is a duo in NXT. I don't want to see them be going at each other face to face until that day comes when they both are champions again. Except it'll be more longer term. This is where we had none other than Ava Raine talking to Paul Heyman, possibly perhaps joining the bloodline because, after all, she's the daughter of the People's Champ, The Rock. And I think there's probably going to be some future plans for that. Probably going to start off with NXT, and then she's going to graduate all the way to NXT, graduate from that and then go into the main roster, which that's possibly the case. But we're going to probably stay tuned on what's next for this at this point in time from this NXT anonymous user pointing this out and showing the video of Ava Raine talking inside in the office with Paul Heyman. Like, what y'all think about this? Y'all let me know down in the comments section down below. This is where we also had Jade Cargill coming out of her car and heading inside the CWC venue and shaking hands with Shawn Michaels and coming inside with him. I was like, and this is like the second time she made a WWE appearance. And her and Cody Rhodes are not the only NXT, the former AEW wrestlers that made an appearance on here. And y'all going to see exactly what I mean by that. This is where the fans are chanting like, holy ass. Like WWE's using the former AEW wrestlers against him. First it was Cody, now it's Jay Cargill, and it's about to be another ex AEW star that's finally going to reveal themselves, and we're going to talk about that as soon as after this match with Lola Vice taking on Danny Palmer's. And I'll say this match was pretty okay for being a filler show, right? A filler match right here, and then we're gonna get to the point of the match. And then this is where we had a backstage segment with Baron Corbin and Cody Rhodes going face to face, arguing about who's in order in NXT. And this is where Baron Corbin was like, who says you could be the general manager here and calling the shots here tonight? And then Cody Rhodes was like, well, thanks to Shawn Michaels for inviting me here and being a special guest and also be the special guest general manager here. Like, I can tell you what I want when I want, like, and what I want out there. Like, and then if I want you in a match, in a title match or in a non-title match, that's exactly what I want. Like, and I easily could put you in the match, Dijak in the match, or in either Braun Breaker or Carmelo Hayes in the match, in a title match. You just can't. And then this is where And this is what Cody was like. Actually, technically, I can because I am the guest general manager for tonight, so I can make that official. And then Cody was like, "Hey, yeah, relax. You're gonna get your match though. You're gonna get." And this Cody like, "Yeah, it's simple, right? Like, if you can pass and wins next week's triple threat number one contenders match, which it was announced, like I said earlier, it will be Dijak and Baron Corbin and who else is going to determine between Mello and Breaker, which we're going to talk about that in the main event." And Cody was like, and the winner of the main event against Mello versus Braun. This is where Baron Corbin stepped right. And he's like, so much for what did Corbin say? He was like, this is like so much for a clean slate of saying if it's about his so much for which was referencing his nice, clean, rich suit. This is where Nathan Fraser went straight up to Dominic Mysterio when he was holding the ice pack on his head, like and his shoulders. He was like, you know, like I, you know, like you may have gotten out of defending that title this week, but I want a shot with you right like next week. You know, I want to. That was a freaking massive what you just did out there. And then this is where Dominic was like, "Who the hell is this guy, mommy?" And then this is like, I believe this is. And this was like, who you think you're talking to Nathan Fraser? She was like, this is the NXT North American champion you're talking to right here. Like, let's go, Dom. And then this is where it's gonna be the next feud. And I hope we finally get a stable champ to beat the dirty Doms, the dirty condoms. And I don't mean by the literal ones. This is where we had the match. This is where we start seeing some swinging and strikes kicks from the protege of Elektra Lopez, and then but Danny Palmer's was starting to dodge moves because she's very giftedly athletic. This is where they started going for the grappling. This is where she won. Danny Palmer won the grappling. Started grabbing onto her Lola Vice's arm. This is where she started trying to twist it and try to bend. And this is where she swings it right back. And then this is where got it right into a leg lock. This is where Lola Vice turns around, flips over out of it, try to grab onto her head, turn it to a headlock. This is where she tried to do a headlock. This is where she Irish whips her right to the corner. This is where she started shaking her hips and her backside around after doing the show tag. This is where she runs. This is where Danny Palmer tried to catch her into a hip toss. This is where she flips her over. This is where she rolls through, try to go for the most devastating move out of sports entertainment, but she only got a 2 even count. This is where Danny what's her name? No, Lola Vice started trying to run and try to go. This is where Danny Palmer tried to go for a leapfrog and a duck. This is where she tried to grab onto Danny Palmer's arm, but Danny Palmer can't. Counters Lola Vice's grab and hit her with arms, put her in a headlock. This is where she tried to put Lola Vice tried to put Danny Palmer in her version of a leg and headlock right onto a triangle choke, I should say. Like this is where she tried to Irish whip Danny Palmer, but Danny Palmer holds onto her, grabs on the rope. This is why she tried to Irish whip, but Lola Vice hang on to her to a headlock. This is where she finally Irish whips Lola Vice, and she got shoulder tackled by Lola Vice again. This is where she still started running. This is where she ducks and she tried to go for a leapfrog, but she hits her with a striking super kick to intercept Danny Palmer's advantage, and then she also. This is where Palmer tried to counter, but Vice hit her with a right hand. This is where she hits her with a striking left kick. This is where she hits her with a stepping stomp right into her back. This is where she pins her, but she kicks out right at 2. This is where Lola Vice tried to continue her dominance onto Danny Palmer. This is where she hits her with a spinning, striking roundhouse kick. This is where This is where Lola Vice goes for the hit her with the running hip attack, just like if she was a Spanish Tony Storm, of course. This is where she tried to go for a pin, but she only got one. She only got two, but she kicks out. But she tried to go for another, but she only got a kick out, and she didn't learn from the first time. This is where she tried to go for a leg, like a leg waist lock right onto Danny Palmer, but she had it locked in one hand, but she was trying to roll out and try to squeeze out her way from getting out of the move. This is where she started slowly but surely getting back up, not too slow, but she hits Lola Vice right into the back into the bottom left corner of Tina. Tina the turnbuckle corner. This is where she tried to clothesline Danny Palmer. She got up on that exact same top rope turnbuckle and hits a double dipped a springboard diving cross body, which is known as the most comeback move in all of sports entertainment. This is where try to boot her, but she ducks. She hits her with a clothesline right onto Lola Vice. She hits her with another clothesline. This is where she hits her with a missile drop and a kip up. This is where she's like, yeah, I can do this. And then this is where she go for a cartwheel kick. And then this is where Booker T started to sound like a hater, saying, like, I don't like to smile. Like, you don't smile at this time. This is where she goes right on the top rope. This is where she goes for a moon or diving corkscrew, but she moved out of the way. She tried to go for a discus cartwheel kick, but she Palmer ducked from her maneuver. This is where she punched and do for uppercuts right onto, and she hit a double knee right onto Lola Vice. This is where she got her into the triangle choke. This is where she flips out and then hits the most incredibly reversal of the most devastating move in all the sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up. And then this is where referee counted one, counted two, but she kicked out. This is where we've seen a spinning roundhouse kick looking like her version of Cassie Lee, aka Peyton Royce's kick, signature kick. This is where she got her knocked out. This is where Lola Vice finally got her with the 1, 2, 3. And she's gonna move on to the next round. And then this is where Elektra Lopez celebrated with her protege, Lola Vice. And it looks like she's gonna face either. This is where she's gonna face either Cameron Petrovich, or even Jada Parker, yeah. And then it looks like Kalani Jordan's going to take on either Ariana Grace or Jakarta Jackson. And anyways, I believe it'll probably be Jada Parker. My prediction would be Jada Parker against Lola Vice, and then Kalani Jordan taking on Jakara Jackson. And then the finals will be Kalani Jordan and Lola Vice. And I think Kalani Jordan's going to win all the way. What y'all's prediction on this Breakouts Women's Tournament in NXT? Y'all let me know down in the comment section down below. This is where we got a vignette of Chase U's Chase University class segment. This is where Thea Hale finally comes back to Chase U. She was like, I'll come to your class if you allow my new friend, JC Jane, in their classroom. And this is where JC Jane came in. So I hope it's okay, Mr. Chase. And I hope it won't be. And we did so well in the ringside last week. Can we please? All right, ladies, take a seat. Everybody's welcome here in this classroom. This is where Andre Chase was like, this is where we're going to talk about Halloween Havoc right now. Established in 1989, and in the mind of Dusty Rhodes. It all started in Philadelphia. This is where Thea Hale and JC Jane went in and started talking during his teachings about Halloween Havoc, because it is Halloween Havoc month for NXT. He's like, we'll keep, and then Andre Chase like, can we just keep it down for just 1 second? And he's like, where was I? And then this is where what's name was the number one guy that was paying attention to what was Andre Chase, because Andre Chase himself forgot what he was saying, because he asked one of his students, like, where was he? He was like, in Philadelphia, Mr. Chase. That's what Duke Hudson said. This is the only guy that was paying attention. This is where, and this year at WrestleMania, NXT, how it'll be special. This is where they start looking at their phones, the text messaging. And this is when they started looking on their phones and seeing what's the latest thing in social media. This is where Andre Chase was like, class, if we could just pay attention back on the go to your notes. And he's like, class, like, listen to me right here. And this is where he got very pissed off. Like, once again, he was like, oh, David, like, what the F are you doing right now? What's so important about what's on that phone? What do you care about your phone on social media? You don't have nothing good, but you don't have nothing good about social media. And he slammed his phone, making it go right to that hard concrete wall, like solid concrete wall. Made that guy's phone break into thousands of pieces. And I bet he's. You better not bring another MF and phone to my class. You got it. Oh, I got it. And then this is where JC Jane and Thea Hale was very shocked. Like, wow, like we never saw this side of him before. Like, we saw him angry, but not this angry. Like, to the point that he'll get his students straight with discipline, with very hard, tough love discipline on them. But he's like, and they're like, okay, well, we're gonna be paying attention. Like, we don't want him to do that next to us. And this is where JC started laughing, like, ha, 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 ha. And then he's like, and you, JC, like, you think everything's fine until you shut up. What you got to shut? Like, what do you have that's important on your phone? He's like, I was just I was shouting out to the big news. And then this is where Theo's like, tell him, you and Duke, you'll be part of the tag team battle royal next week. And then this is where Duke Hudson's like, it's great that you can learn something new on social media. Am I right, my dude? The same guy that Andre Chase threw his phone through the wall at, and he's like, dude, I need a new phone. This is the guy around spot, the future number one contender for the tag team title, and then the rest of the Chase U students started clapping for Duke Hudson and Andre Chase, and then this is where Duke Hudson started chanting like, yeah, that's us. This is such a delightful class, Professor. Like, you're gonna have so many fun. Like, yeah, he. And then she turned around, rolled her eyes at what's his name, Andre Chase. This is where Braun Breaker was getting ready for his match. This is where Paul Heyman's like all my experience, I worked with your father, I worked with your uncle, like, and you have the best that both had to offer in this business, but like, I'm not the wise man that I remember the past from 20 and a half years ago, but I'm the wise man because I can see the future, and the future is right here, Braun Breaker, and main event of WrestleMania. I was like, yeah, he will main event WrestleMania, but unfortunately that won't be that time just yet. But when do you think when is the time for him the main event WrestleMania? I would love to hear that from you guys down in the comment section down below. And also, he's like, and what's in your way is none other than Carmelo Hayes. And this is where they got ready for their match. This is where he started chuckling, saying, like, this is gonna be really good. Like, and he told his phone to call Roman Reigns like he would usually do on Friday nights. This is where we had the match. We're going to start right here with a special introduction from Paul Heyman, saying, like, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, and I'm here to represent the man that's the next best thing in the next main eventer of WrestleMania, Braun Breaker. Like, if he's the next Brock Lesnar, which I believe so, that's what he is. Give him about 2 or 3 years from now, and he's going to be main event in WrestleManias. But yeah, this is where we had the match. This is where Carmelo Hayes had him in a back hammerlock, elbows twisting, arm twisting lock right onto the former NXT champion. This is where Braun Breaker was countering. This is where he tried to go for a suplex right on to Carmelo Hayes. This is where he tried to pin him, but he only got a 1-2 all. This is where Braun Breaker was like, no, that was it right there. Like, this is where he started doing an arm drag lock. This is where he turned into a bend in his back right off and bend it right back, like trying to bend it out of his spine, his whole entire body out of his spine area. This is where he started doing a stretch and then holding onto a headlock. This is where Braun Breaker tried to go for a suplex, but Carmelo Hayes was not having it. He started hitting him with a right hand right onto Breaker. This is where Braun Breaker knees him right into the midsection. This is where Braun Breaker Irish whipped him right into the corner. This is where Braun Breaker lands on his back. This is where he hits him with a stepping kick right to the face. This is where Carmelo Hayes went up right on the top rope. This is where Braun Breaker shoves him right off the outside. This is where he starts hanging on to the ropes, for dear life. This is where Braun Breaker grabs on it. He'll be hitting with a right hand, but he hit the right hand right back to Breaker. This is where he hits another striking right hand to Melo. This is where both men were trying to go for the suplexes on each other respectively. But this is when Braun Breaker grabs him around his legs and his shoulders. This is where Carmelo Hayes tried to go for a suplex right on the outside. But this is where Braun Breaker counters and slings him back in the ring and hit him face, crash and burn, and hit him head face first right onto the top rope. This is where Braun Breaker gets back in the ring, hits a slingshot flapjack right into the bottom ropes with Carmelo Hayes hitting his head and his upper torso right onto the ropes. This is where the referee counted the 1-2, and then he got the 2. This is where he got the 2 count. This is where John Cena reminded everybody this is only 2. That wasn't 3. This is where he hit an easy back elbow strike right onto Melo when he Irish whipped him right to the ropes. And then this is where Braun Breaker picks him back up. This is where you think you got it easy, and this is where he hits him with a hip suplex. And then he started listening to the fans start chanting, Braun Breaker sucks. And he started listening to it like if he had some symphony orchestra where he taking the fans' insult on him as a compliment. And then he's like, yeah, I love it. It's music in my ears. I keep on saying it. Braun Breaker sucks. And this is where Braun Breaker grabs Carmelo Hayes with his right hand to the back of the head. This is where he hits a slap right onto Braun Breaker's chest. Luckily, it wasn't enough for making what's his name envious onto him and angry at the A-Champ Gunther, but it did make Braun Breaker angry because he speared him right after he did that and started punching him with punches repeatedly like if he was Brock Lesnar. And he's like, do you like that? And he's like, and he shoved his head right through the canvas. This is where Braun Breaker pinned him. This is where he only got a 2.6 count. This is where Braun Breaker's like, you gotta be kidding me! Like, why in the hell you're not trying to pin? You can't count faster. This after he hits that hits the fireman's gut buster. And he's like, you want some too, John Cena? Like, see what I can be capable of? Like while I'm through with. While I'm through with Melo, I'm coming after you next. And then this is where Paul Heyman's like, don't worry about him yet. You have plenty of time for him. This is where he hits a flying shoulder block. This is where he tries to go for another one, mocking John Cena. And this is where like, okay, and then he hits the 5 moves of doom back suplex, spin him around. This is where he's like 5 knuckle shuffle, and he starts saying, you can't see me, mocking John Cena. Doing that to Carmelo Hayes. This is why John Cena's like, really? He's gonna mock me in this disrespectful man. This is where he try to go for a run. This is where Carmelo Hayes hits a flying super kick out of nowhere, making him land sit down right into the canvas. This is where Carmelo Hayes starts smacking the canvas like, let's get back in the game, like trick in the Melo game. This is where he goes for a clothesline. This is where he goes for another clothesline. This is where he's not been onto the ropes. This is where he goes for a flying splash right onto Melo. This is where he hit another forearm splash. This is where he goes for a suplex. I do it right through the turnbuckle, or well, it looks like it was, but he he did a move that he had looked like Braun Breaker was about to do a dipping suplex, but he lifted him up. He lifted himself up right onto the ropes, dipped right there, got back up, hit a superplex cutter majig, like something amazing that I've ever seen in athleticism, high flying professional wrestling I've ever seen. But this is where you try to go for a pin, but you only got the 2.999 count. This is where Carmelo Hayes was like, I don't know what to do now. And this is where Melo try to go up in the top rope, try to go for the nothing but net in this a bit early than expected to be. This is where Braun Breaker forearms him right into the face, like right on the top rope. This is where he was like, nope, not today, not any day. This is going to be the only time you miss. And this is where Braun Breaker try to go up and try to suplex him on the top rope. I was like, Breaker, like, how's he gonna miss when he didn't even do the move at all? Like, in order to miss the move, the nothing but net, you gotta reverse the move out of the way for him to miss. But anyways, this is where he started hitting right hands right onto the top rope. This is where he tried to go for a suplex, which he did so. Top rope suplex, which is the most devastating suplex I've seen in professional wrestling. This is where he got 2.999. This is where he get pissed off. He's like, it didn't work, Heyman. Like, what was that? And he's like, Barnum's like, I don't know. This is where he took the suspenders came off because he was getting ready to do the spear. And then this is where he tried to go for the spear. This is where Melo moved right away around time, hitting his head right to the ring post. This is where he tried to go for nothing but net right off the top rope. This is where he's about to hit a nothing but net. But I was like, this is the first time I actually saw Carmelo Hayes did actually miss, unfortunately, because Braun Breaker grabbed him by his neck, looked like going for a choke. But really, he's going for the military press slam, but in which he did so. This is where he pins him. This is where a 1 and a 2, but he kicks at a 2.99999, 0-1 away from 3. And then this is where Carmelo go right out of the ring, roll out of the ring. This is where Braun Breaker's like, oh no, like you're not gonna roll out of it. This is where he tried to do the exact same thing like what he did to Von Wagner a month ago, trying to sandwich his head and crush his head in and to crush his head in half for the fans to see his brains. But luckily that didn't happen because John Cena's like, what the hell are you doing? Like, you can't do that here. Like, it's already bad enough. And plus, like, you can't do that because, like, everybody's going to know what you're going to be irritated. And this is where John Cena kicks him right into the midsection. Booker T was like, what the hell? Like, this is out of the ordinary. I was like, yeah, like, John Cena's not going to let you get away with that. But yeah, I'm almost done in here so you can come in here. But anyways, this is where John Cena kicks him right in the midsection. This is where he grabs steel steps. When Souls of Code came out of nowhere, he hit the face first with it. This is where they start hitting fists back and forth on one another. This is where they start hitting knuckles on each other. This is where Carmelo Hayes took advantage, hit him with the double knees right to the face, hit him with the face breaker. This is where he threw him back in the ring. This is where he hits him with the nothing but net, got the 1, 2, 3, and earned himself an opportunity for the NXT Championship. And this is what we're going to see next week in the number contenders match with Baron Corbin taking on Dijak and Carmelo Hayes for the NXT champion in the number one contenders match. And then this is where Braun Breaker came in. He spears him, being a sore loser, attacking him. But soon after, this is where we see the returning American Badass, except in NXT, the first time we see the Undertaker in that brand. And he ride his motorcycle right in there. This is where he talks to Carmelo. I mean, not Carmelo, Braun Breaker. He was like you will have your moment, but it won't be tonight. And this is where he strikes him with a right hand. This is where he choke slams him and to send the crowd home happy. And then this is where Braun Breaker celebrated, raising his hand into the match. Like yeah, this was the greatest NXT show that I have ever watched. And I'll say you would expect it to be 5 stars, but I would give it 4 stars out of the 5. And what y'all thought about tonight's NXT? Y'all let me know down in the comment section down below. On the NXT, down in the comments below, I should say. And yeah, that was the end of NXT. And I'll say this would definitely deserve 4 stars. I'll say if it was absolutely perfect, I would give it the perfect 5 stars. But yeah, I'm gonna end this video right here. I'm gonna have the next episode, which will be in another location, as you can see right now. Yeah, my grandpa's getting ready to go to bed. But yeah, make sure you stay tuned for the next episode of the SN67, episode 67 of the AEW, the special edition AEW's Title Tuesday Dynamite review part 9. Make sure y'all check that out. I've been your host, SNA Super Ninja Austin, aka. This was the latest edition of the SNA podcast 66 of the NXT review part 9, which is the special edition of NXT into the Tuesday Night War. But yeah, see you then. Super Ninja Austin, the assassin, out. See you in the next video. Okay, end it right here.